welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a video that I've wanted to film for a long time. This one's actually way overdue, so most of you may not even watch it, but I'm gonna do it anyway because that's kind of how my channel goes. I just do whatever makes me happy, and if you guys watch, that's a plus. So anyway, I did this video last year. I will try and remember to link it in the somewhere or in the description box, but basically I was really bored one day at work. Shh, don't tell my boss. And I decided to research all of the launches from Colorpop in 2018, and I did a video called like recapping Colorpop 2018 or something like that. So I thought it would be so fun to do the same thing in 2019. I did the research, and of course it's all on my work computer, so I kept forgetting to film this video, or I would forget to bring my work computer home every time I had the time to film this video. So I put this video off like 1,000 times, and now it's almost the end of March, and it'll probably be April when you're watching this, so we're already like a quarter of the way through the first like 2020, but I feel like this is still really fun for me. Just even doing the research for this video, I was like, wow, like first of all, Colorpop comes out with a ton of stuff in a year, and they have a knack of making it seem like things aren't coming out, even though they are, like every week. And it's so funny because I remember when they first started doing pressed palettes, like eyeshadow palettes, and I was like, whoa, like, you know, it was the Cute AF palette that came out first, and then there was such a not lengthy, but it felt like there was a lengthy amount of time between that one and the next one, and now it feels like they come out with an eyeshadow palette every week. And in 2019, this like took a hold of me, where I was pretty much buying every pressed powder eyeshadow palette that Colorpop launched. And in 2020, I've managed to gain a hold of myself a little bit. I'm definitely not perfect. I put myself on a Colorpop no-buy basically this year, and I did buy one palette because it went on sale and I'm weak, and I was actually planning on buying the Huda Mint palette, so I wanted to compare, but I did pick up the Mint palette from Colorpop, and actually that I think was in the end a good purchase because it made me not want the Huda palette, so I'm okay with it, but I plan on just like really not buying anything Colorpop unless it's something like that's really gonna blow my mind, so I just tell myself I'm not allowed to buy anything. So definitely been tempted this year, and last year, you know, you guys are gonna hear me talk about everything that came up. I'm gonna throw up pictures so you guys know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure that you guys will recognize a lot of this stuff, and I think it would be fun to play a little game. Keep account of how many of these things you tried, and if you want to let me know down in the comments how many of these new launches you guys picked up in 2019, I would be so stoked because I think it would be really interesting to see what you guys think. Maybe I'll keep track while I'm editing or watch this, you know, video on the playback and tell you guys how many of these products I've purchased personally, and I think we could have a lot of fun. And yeah, so without further blabbering, strap in. This video is going to be really long because there's a lot, and for the most part I think I have a very accurate amount of entries, but you know, I'm human. I may have missed something. So if I missed anything, let me know down in the comments, and let's get into it. So the first thing I have recorded as a launch are the new Luxe lipsticks in the Luxe Velvet Blur finish that launched on January 10th. I don't think I bought any of these, and I really like Colourpop's cream lipsticks and like that whole line of bullet lipsticks. I think they're really nice. I think they're a great price point. I like the Luxe packaging. I in fact have a bunch on display back there on my vanity that I'm supposed to be reaching for, but of course I forget to do that. But yeah, I am planning on probably gifting a few of them to my mom when she comes and visits me, because she loves to pick out neutral lipstick shades in my collection, and I love to gift them to her because that's like the one makeup item she wears constantly is lipsticks and lip gloss. I like that line, but I don't remember anything about it. So on January 11th, they restocked their huge Super Shock Volt that they came out with for like I don't know, was it the holidays 2018? I don't know. So then the first palette that launched last year was on January 17th. They launched the It's My Pleasure palette. And this is where I'm like, seriously, they make it feel like I feel like I've had the It's My Pleasure palette forever, because they've come out with the Lilac You A Lot palette. And so many other purple palettes have come out since then as well. So it really makes me feel like I've had the It's My Pleasure palette for like 5 years, even though I've only had it for a little over a year, which I think is crazy. So the next thing that they launch are the Colorpop BFF mascaras, and those launch on the 24th of January. I did buy the whole set because they were selling them in a bundle, and I was just like so pumped with myself because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll totally wear colorful mascaras, totally makes sense. And realistically, no, I don't wear colorful mascaras that much. I love just wearing black mascara. It goes with my hair color and all that stuff, so I very rarely reach for colorful mascara, and I really haven't used any of the other shades. I did try out the pink one, it was okay, and I used the black and it was okay. It's definitely not my favorite mascara formula, so I think I'm just gonna throw the other ones in a giveaway. I've been slowly collecting products that I want to put in a giveaway for you guys, so yeah, I didn't like the two I tried, so I don't think I'm gonna take advantage and use the other ones. But yeah, let me know if you guys tried those. And then on January 31st, they did the Zodiac Loose Pigment Collection, and that was 12 shades for $6 each. So they took the shades from the Kathleen Lights palette, the Zodiac palette that she came out with in 2018, and they did a beautiful PR package with the loose pigments, and I was actually surprised at how many people bought shades from those. I personally don't really enjoy having eyeshadows in pigment form. I like pressed shadows. I used to be really into the MAC pigments, and then I just got over it and ended up, I think I sold most of them on my Poshmark because I wasn't reaching for them. So in February last year, they launched eyeliners on 215, then pumping glosses on 222, and on 227, they launched the Zoella X Colorpop Brunch Date collection. So I feel like that was a very unpopular collection. I've seen a little bit of Zoella. I don't really watch her too much, but I know she's been in like a few controversies. I'm not really sure what exactly. So I don't think that collection did as well as they had maybe hoped. I believe she is a British creator, and I think she does more like lifestyle videos and stuff like that. So I think you can still buy that palette, and I think I see it a lot on sale, and it's a very neutral palette with a pop of blue. And I've just never been really interested in it, but that is the Colourpop Zoella collection. And then we move on to March, and on March 6th, they launched the Just My Luck palette, which I know everyone was asking about because when Colourpop started their monochromatic series with the pink palette, everyone was like, give me a green palette, give me a green palette. And then they came out with the Just My Luck palette, and I remember I did a look with it for St. Patrick's Day. I don't really know if I've used that palette more than like 1 or 2 times, to be very honest with you guys, just because I have so much. This is exactly why I need a Colourpop no-buy, because I want to go back and test them all out and like declutter things that I'm not using and stuff. But I do think it was a very, very beautiful palette. Then on March 14th, they came out with their spring palette, Sweet Talk palette. I did actually used to own that as well. I know a lot of lighter skin tones really, really like the Sweet Talk palette. It's definitely like a go-to palette for them every day, and I think I could have definitely used it as well. I just wasn't really as into it as I thought. I also didn't like that there were pressed glitters in that palette. I think there were 2 pressed glitters, so in the end I did end up decluttering it. I regret it a little bit. Like, I feel like I should have just kept it because it's such a good palette, but you know, with Colourpop, it's like there's always something new around the corner, so I'm not too sad about it, but it definitely speaks to that like fast fashion, fast makeup aspect of Colourpop, which I'm trying to get away from. So the next palette, or the next collection that they launched in March, was the Misunderstood the Disney Villains collab. So I originally bought the Princess palette. I honestly did not like the Disney Princess palette. I believe I also decluttered that palette, and I did buy the Villains palette, and that's another one I like low-key regret decluttering because it had so many beautiful colorful shimmer shades in it, which Colourpop doesn't do that often. They definitely do a lot of neutrals in palettes, and so I kind of regret getting rid of the Disney one. I think I should have like held on to it a little bit longer, but you know what, I probably have those shades 100 times over, so it's okay. But yeah, Disney Villains collection came out in March of last year, so crazy how time flies. And in that collection, like I said, they had the palette, 6 Jelly Matte shadows, 6 Luxe lipsticks, 6 Ultra Glossy lips, 6 Super Shock highlighters, and 2 Glitterly Obsessed. They also had PR kits and villain kits and things like that. So on to April, they did the Colourpop Festival collection, and in that collection they came out with 8 new pressed glitters, 2 new pressed pigments, 3 new So Juicy plumping glosses, and 1 new BFF mascara. So if you guys remember the palette that they put all the pressed glitters in with the beautiful neon shades, like it was so appealing to me, and of course I bought it. Like, of course I bought it. And I don't think I ever even did a video with that palette because I never ended up wanting to use those shades. So I pretty recently decluttered a lot of my Colourpop single pan shadows because I have so many other single pan shadows from brands I really, really love. So I ended up getting rid of them, which I'm not actually mad about. I'm so happy that they're on to new homes and, you know, somebody's getting good use out of them. But yeah, I never used that festival collection palette that I bought. And so this is where I think of like all the money I've spent on Colourpop, and I'm like, Karen, you're insane. Like, you need to be stopped. So on April 11th, they launched more loose pigments. And on April 17th, they did the creme gel colors and creme gel liners. They did like new color matching packaging where the lids now match the color on the inside. I believe it used to be just white on all of them. And then on April 26th, they did Shayla X Colourpop Round 2. I believe it's Shayla's birthday. That's when they do the collabs. And I was a clown and I bought the palette, and I'm like, why? Why? Like, they did a 9-pan palette with like a pop of yellow, and it's a very ordinary palette. I don't even think I've used that palette once. I think it's gonna get chopped from my Colourpop collection, but I still have it because I don't think I've like really decided. And I also decluttered her original palette that she did, which was like one of their very first like 16-pan palettes, I think. And it's a beautiful, colorful, muted palette. I've seen a lot of people use it. I think a lot of people say it's a dupe for the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, but I didn't like the Born to Run palette, and the Shayla palette was nice, but I wasn't going back and reaching for it, so I was happy to just like declutter it. And so yeah, they did do a round 2 as well, so I wonder if they'll come out with a round 3 this year. It'll be interesting to see, because sometimes I feel like one thing people definitely say is Colourpop collabs with the same people over and over and over again. So yeah, it's interesting. So May 16th, they did their full birthday collection lineup. Then on May 23rd, they launched their blue palette. What was that palette called? I can't remember, but I will have pictures so you know what I'm talking about. And that was a fun palette too, because I think it came out, did it come out after Jeffree Star's Blue Blood? I believe so, and a lot of people were really excited because it was a good dupe to Jeffree Star's Blue Blood palette. So on the 29th of May, they did some blush highlighter sticks, and these are super lightweight. I just recently decluttered my blush highlighter sticks. I don't really like them that much. I'm not really huge on cream products. I have to be in the mood, and the consistency is what's most important to me. And there's no real like cream products I'm a huge fan of. I do like the Colourpop Super Shock blushes, but yeah, I didn't really like the stick ones, so okay to be done with those. And they also did lippy scrubs. I believe that was the first time they did lippy scrubs as well, was in May of last year. So on June 7th, they launched a Venus Creme Gel Liner. It's a red hot shade, and it's one of my favorite eyeliners from Colourpop. And then on June 12th, they did these huge big boxes of lippy stick sets, and it's so funny because, you know, lippy sticks was like their second product, I think, of their whole line. They had the Super Shocks and then they did the lippy sticks, and I think everyone loved the lippy sticks when they first launched, but they've come out with so many different, you know, lipstick formulas since then. I don't know that the lippy sticks get as much love as they should, but I know a lot of people have those big like 40 lippy sticks in a box sets, so I hope they're getting use out of them. If you have them, I would love to know if you reach for those at all. June 13th, they came out with a brand new curated summer palette, and basically it's like a custom build your own palette that they sometimes curate together. And then they also did the Zodiac palette in single compacts. So they broke it down so in case you only wanted like one specific shade from the Zodiac palette, you could get it in a compact, which I'd never seen Colourpop do. So that was quite a bit different. And actually that launched on June 19th, so not at the same time as their summer palettes. So on June 20th, they came out with the California Love palette, which, confession, I own, but I've never used. See, this is where I know I have a Colourpop problem and why I've stopped buying Colourpop, because I had the same palette over and over and over again. And I know it's so easy for us to justify because it's affordable and this and that. And hey, that's totally up to you. For me, it just needed to stop because I was spending way too much money on Colourpop. So yeah, I have the California Love palette. Hopefully someday it'll make its way onto my channel. Or maybe I'll declutter it. I don't know. I took it out of the box, so I feel bad giving it away. But yeah, I have it. I have it. So yeah, just so you guys know. And then on June 27th, they came out with the Honey palette, and everyone lost their minds because we were all waiting for a 9-pan yellow palette, and they gave it to us. It's definitely one of my lesser favorite 9-pan palettes because I think all the shades kind of look the same in the end on me, and I think it has a pressed glitter in it as well, so not a huge fan of that particular palette. And then on to July, they launched another new product. It was July 11th, and they launched the Just a Tint lip crayons. I did pick up a set of those, and I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest. Some people love it. Some people, like me, don't, so I'm never buying any more of those, and I believe I decluttered those in a lipstick declutter video, so I don't own those anymore. And then on July 15th, they launched their Soul Body line, which is a new like body makeup line from Colourpop, so you can shop Soul Body on their website as well. It's all like one umbrella brand situation. On July 19th, they did their collab with Halo Top Creamery, so it was a really cute Super Shock collab with ice cream, so it was super, super cute, perfect for summer. I've honestly decluttered all of my Colourpop Super Shocks, and every once in a while I do get tempted to pick one up, but I'm staying strong because I'm really not a fan of single shadows. I don't like having to reach for something extra to, you know, put on my lids. I have so many shimmery, beautiful shades. I don't need that in my life, so I didn't end up buying any of them, but they did look really, really pretty. And then on July 23rd, they did their orange collections. They did launch their monochromatic orange palette, which was called like What Orange You Glad or something. I can't remember, but I think I bought that one too. I don't hardly use that, so that is on the back burner. And then on July 26th, they launched their second collab with Becky G called the Viva Collection with Becky G. The Salvaje palette came out in 2018, and then the Hola Chola palette came out at the end of 2019, so that's coming up as well. So on to August, they launched Strawberry Dreams, which is another monochromatic palette. It's like a cute red-pink palette. It was like milkshake themed, I think. And then on August 14th, they did a She's a Rainbow palette, which was one of their build your own palettes that they curated. And then on August 22nd, they did the Peach Collection. What was the Peach Collection? I don't even remember. I don't remember what the Peach Collection was. Let me see if I can find a picture because I know I saved all of the pictures to go along with this video on my work computer as well. Oh, okay, so it's the Baby Got Peach palette. That's what it was. Okay, so on August 22nd, they launched the Peach collection, which included the Baby Got Peach monochromatic palette. I did end up passing on that one because it just looked really, really light, and I didn't think those shades were going to show up on my skin tone, so I was happy to pass on that. And then on September 6th, they launched the Kathleen X Colourpop So Jaded palette, which I didn't initially want to give in, but I did actually end up purchasing it, and it is honestly one of my favorite Colourpop palettes. It's really, really a fun palette. I hope to do a video with it someday. As you can see, it came out on September 6th. I didn't pick it up until a few restocks later, but you guys still haven't seen it on my channel, and it's another reason why I shouldn't be buying any more Colourpop, because I have a problem. So on September 11th, they came out with the Truly Madly Deeply palette. On September 12th, they came out with the Whatever palette. 6 Ultra Glossy Lips, 6 Super Shock Blushes, Wine O'Clock BFF Mascara, Joyride Creme Gel Liner, and that was a really underrated collection. I believe that was their fall 2019 collection, and I always admired all the Super Shock blushes they came out with that collection. I've added those blushes into my cart so many times and ended up walking away because I don't need blushes. Like, I want them, but I don't need them, so I try to stay away. But I did end up caving and buying the Whatever palette, and it's honestly a gorgeous palette for tan skin. So if you want a neutral, gorgeous, affordable palette, I would recommend the Whatever palette from Colourpop. It's honestly like a hidden gem neutral palette in my opinion. So the next palette that launched, or the next thing they launched, was on September 19th. They launched the Lilac collection, which did include the Lilac You A Lot palette. I apparently, again, waited because I don't think I bought it until this year, last year, no, last. Okay, so I basically haven't really used the Lilac palette. I do own it, and I did actually do a look with it pretty recently because I've been really into playing with pastels. So it's a nice palette. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's the greatest palette for my skin tone. And if you don't like to wear a base, I wouldn't recommend buying it because it's not really going to show up on anyone like tan to deep, to be honest. So next is on September 26th, they launched their Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer, and I know a lot of my YouTube friends really love the Pretty Fresh line. I bought the moisturizer foundation thing, didn't really love it, but you guys know I'm like a full coverage bitch, so I like my foundation to stay on my face through like a whole work day. If it doesn't, I'm not really interested. I want to look put together until I'm done with work. So yeah, it didn't really stay on my face very long, and I could have used it on the weekends, but I ended up decluttering it, so not a huge fan of that. And then on October, they launched the Sophia X Colourpop lipsticks. A lot of people were really into that. Sophia Nightguard, I don't think I've ever really watched her, but she's got a lot of fans, and they went nuts for those lipsticks. And then on October 7th, they did the Disney Designer Midnight Masquerade collection, which was still the Disney princesses, but they were like going to the ball, but they were like more modern. I don't know, there was like a theme, I don't know. I was done with Disney palettes at that point though, because I hadn't used my princess palette, nor did I use my villains palette, so I'm like, I'm not buying another Disney palette, so I stayed away. And then on the 18th of October, they launched their Bye Bye Birdie collection, which everyone was crazy about and really enjoyed. I think I bought the palette because it was like all these beautiful berry shades, but I think I used it like once on my channel and then I didn't really love it, so I ended up getting rid of it, which is again why I'm not buying every Colourpop palette this year, because I have a problem. And I don't remember when, but they also launched their monochromatic black palette in October. They kind of had to like take it off their social media because I think they got in trouble because of the name. It's called Blowing Smoke, and I think there was some like copyright issues, so now it's just called like the Smoke Session or Smoke something. It's the black and gray and silvery palette that they came out with. Sorry, my nose is running. That they came out with in October, and I do have that in the original packaging, so that's kind of fun. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. I'm sure editing me is like, ugh. So anyway, on November 5th, they launch their Pretty Fresh Hydrating Concealer, which I also decided to pick up. So I actually waited to buy the foundation with the concealer, and I didn't like either of them, so I don't own those products anymore. On November 7th, they did a collab with a creator named Biddy. I thought this was a really beautiful collection, just not really my vibe, so I passed on that. On November 12th, they came out with the Going Coconuts collection, which if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I am a sucker for the word coconut. And of course I bought it, and I actually really like the Going Coconuts palette. It's a great neutral palette. So if you guys are like balling on a budget and you want a good neutral palette, I would totes recommend it. On November 15th, we got the Frozen 2 and Colorpop collection. So they did like an Elsa and Anna palette. I don't think I would actually enjoy the movie Frozen, so I haven't seen either of them, but people were so excited for those eyeshadow palettes because they knew they were going to be such great like Christmas gifts, and like adults, kids, everyone was going crazy for the Frozen 2 collection. And then on November 19th, they came out with a small collection that was curated with Kathleen Knight. It was called a Minor in Astrology palette, so she did like these Z palettes, and I don't know, there was a bunch of stuff that came out. It was kind of a random collection. I don't really know why they did that launch, but it was cute. And then on November 21st, they did the Butterfly collection, which was a huge collection. They called it like their things, I don't know, I think it was like a Black Friday thing, I don't know. It was interesting because I definitely bought it, and then they also came out with a bunch of them to like Ulta exclusives, and people were spending like $100 at least trying to collect all the palettes. So I didn't go that crazy, but I did buy the Butterfly palette, and again, that was one of those palettes I finally tried one day as I was gonna go to work, and I didn't like it. I thought it was really chalky, and I have it in a bin down there of palettes that I just tried and I don't really like, so I'm getting rid of it. So on November 26th, they did like their Black Friday collection, and that entailed quite a few things. They had their Dream Big Rainbow Palette Vault, which was 6 monochromatic palettes. They did a glitter vault with their Glitterly Obsessed pots. They did a cream gel liner vault. They did a just a tint vault. They did those big lip pencil vaults, all kinds of stuff. It was intense, and I did end up picking up the eyeliners as well as the Glitterly Obsessed, which I have not used the Glitterly Obsessed since I played with them for like one video, and yeah, anyway, it happens. And then on the 28th of November, they did the Bare Necessities, and they did the brush roll that went with it. That was really a fun release. I ended up picking that up for a gift for my best friend, so I gave her the Bare Necessities palette and the brush roll because she travels a lot for work and she loves eyeshadow. She actually is like one of the only people I know that actually pans eyeshadows because she loves to wear makeup. And so it's so sweet because now she always tells me how much she really loves the Bare Necessities palette and how she's like obsessed with Colourpop, and I'm like, great, because you live in California, so you know, it's like a local brand for you, and I'm so glad that she tried the palette and really loves it. So I have the brush roll. I haven't tried it yet, so I bought 2 brush rolls and 2 palettes. I gave her a brush roll and a palette, so I still have a palette. I kind of want to just use it as a gift to a friend, or maybe if I decide to throw it in a subscriber giveaway. But it's such a good neutral palette. I can see so many of my girlfriends getting such good use out of it, so I'm tempted to use it, but I have the Going Coconuts palette, so I'm gonna just hold on to it and use it as a gift someday, surprise one of my friends or something with it. And then in November is usually when they do their No Kill LA collab, and I believe they did one last year as well for the No Kill animal shelter. So the last month of 2019, Colourpop was obviously very busy. So on December 2nd, they came out with the Your Solid Gold collection. This was supposed to be their holiday collection. They had a beautiful palette, which, spoiler alert, I have not bought, even though it was very tempting. Samantha March did buy it, and it looked really beautiful on her, and of course it was just like calling to me, but I stayed strong. And then December 12th, they did the Hola Chola collection with Becky G. There was like some big controversy with that. I don't know if it was like the artwork or something, but I don't think that collection actually ended up being around for very long. I think it got pulled from everywhere, so you couldn't really buy it. And then they did like these little collabs with their other brands. So they did like the Champagne Bubbles liquid highlighter with a pressed illuminator with a kabuki brush, and there's a bunch of like weird things like that. And then they did on the very end, I think December 30th is when they launched the It's All Good palette, and that was kind of when I was toying with my idea for a Colourpop no buy for 2020. And so I decided, as my one final Colourpop purchase of 2019, I bought the It's All Good palettes. So yeah, that was the last thing I bought from Colourpop. I did buy the mint palette, so that wasn't the last thing, but at the time it was the last thing I had bought from Colourpop since I bought the mint palette though, which I really like the mint palette, so I will definitely do a look with it. And yeah, if things kind of, you know, slow down, maybe this will be my chance to finally catch up and feature some palettes that I haven't talked about in a hot second on my channel. So that is everything. That is my recap of Colourpop 2019. Like I said in the intro, let me know how many of these launches you picked up in 2019. I would be so curious to hear from you. And if I can remember, I'll try and count mine too, so I can let you know down in the comments. And thank you guys for, you know, sitting through this. I'm sure it was a very long video, so I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video soon. Bye!